Hi, this is Dave Perry, and you're watching Retro Gaming Revival live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Retro Gaming Revival, live back on a Wednesday. We are back to our usual time slot. We've had a Tuesday evening for a couple of weeks, but we are now back to normal on a Wednesday. So let's get cracking. Let's go around the panel. We've got our usual panel in the house. We have Mr. Tim Triangle Face.
Hello.
We have Mr. Blunners, who's not in the Under the Stairs cupboard. So we're getting an exclusive appearance of Blunners out in the wild here. We have Mr. Vanilla Daubs.
Yeah, kids are
What's that, mate?
Kids are where, mate?
He's gone.
Me.
You need to get back in the cupboard. Your internet's terrible in the, out in the world.
We have Mr. Daubs.
Greetings.
Hang on.
And then our guest this evening is John from OLL. So, John, welcome to Retro Gaming Revival Live.
Oh, it's fantastic to be here. Hello.
Excellent.
Good evening.
Excellent.
Oh, how exciting.
Isn't it? We're very excited to have you on the show as well. We should normally pre-warn you that we do have a very cheesy intro that's sort of a bit reminiscent of something like, The Price is Right or Supermarket Sweep.
As I've just seen.
Yeah.
I've had I have watched you on YouTube before. I'm not here just to plug my stuff, But looking at like some of the names that you guys have had in your interviews and your shows, it is genuinely an honor to be here. So thank you very much for having me.
Very welcome.
Oh, dude, that means a lot. I mean, we're genuinely astounded when people kind of message us back and say yes. You're kind of like, really? Really? All right.
Have you got a name that's like really similar to like a really other famous channel or something?
If we have, we're certainly unaware of it, and let's just keep it going. Let's just not change the name, because whatever it is, it's we've got a few cool people that come and chat to us. So we're all good. Okay, so John, first things first, we always ask all our guests on the stream a couple of questions that we always ask them. So first question to you this evening is early gaming memories. What is it about gaming that you can remember, if there's a moment in your childhood or anything that really sort of brought you into the world of gaming?
Well, I mean, how long have you got here? So I can vaguely, I don't know if they're reconstructed memories, but I do genuinely remember the first interactive game that I played, which was a Game & Watch, and it was a game called Manhole, which is not the most well-known of Game & Watch titles, but my introduction to games came with that, and then like various handheld LCD games, like the Tomitron, the ones you held up to your eyes and the light came in the top. Turbo driving game, which was the white one. But in terms of video games, the first actual on-screen video game that I played was round a friend's house after school, and that was Defender on the Atari 2600.
Yep.
And then I didn't have a console myself for a while, but I kind of went through the Atari and Amiga years, like through my friends, And then the first console that I bought with my own money was a Master System. Couldn't afford a Mega Drive at the time. I was like 10. But then, the Master System was really my first console that I had. So I started with Sega, moved on to Nintendo when I saw the light. And then it was PS1, and then then I was into it, and then it's just been every console, every major game ever since, really.
Yeah. I think that's generally the way, isn't it? Most people have a preference when they're sort of younger, and then it just spans into almost everything as you get older. I think Daubs always gets very excited when somebody mentions Amiga, because I think out of everyone on the panel, Daubs was possibly the only one that had an Amiga growing up.
You had to be rich to have an Amiga, though.
Yeah, but you did. But then once you got the initial outlay on the actual system, basically all the games are free because you used to get X-copy version. Yeah.
I think a lot of the Amiga games were also on the Archimedes, like the Acorn computer that I had. There's quite a lot of crossover there. Not quite all of them. There's a few of the games I really liked playing. I later found out other people were playing them on Amiga. So I never had one, but I played quite a few of the games.
Excellent. And out of all the consoles that you sort of had in that early days, was there some that you played more, or any that you kind of just?
I would say the Mega Drive was probably the one that I really wanted, because before I got the Master System, I had a couple of friends and they were twins, and so they got like double-sized Christmas presents, and they got a Mega Drive and they had Sonic the Hedgehog with the Mega Drive, and it was like, oh my god, I have to have this in my life. I couldn't afford the £130 for a Mega Drive with Sonic, so I had to settle for the Master System, which was like what, £80 I think it was when I was 9 years old. But the Master System version of Sonic the Hedgehog was actually the best one, I believe. So that really has a strong memory for me, because that was the first thing that I could remember that this is the thing that I must own, kind of thing. But overall, I would probably say the PS1, just because of that leap from 16 to 32-bit, going from 2D to 3D. I don't think that leap in tech between generations has been seen since then. No. So every new title that came out on that PS1 in those first 2 years, like 95, 96, 97, every game was just absolutely stunning, inventing new genres, the first Resident Evil, the first Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VII, all that kind of stuff. That was the golden era.
Dodgy that one.
We'll bring that.
Is Final Fantasy VII a sore topic?
No, not at all.
No. I've said it many times before. I think it's garbage.
And then it's
probably,
it's
I think
mine and Tim's favourite game.
Both me and Ollie have gone on record to say it's our top game, it's our favourite game. But Daubs, and Ryan, who's not on tonight, he also hates it as well. I don't think as passionately as Daubs. Daubs got a real.
Oh, no, I don't say passionate.
Passion.
I just think it's very, very overrated.
Did you play it at the time though?
Yeah.
Really?
I played it 97, 98, and it's just who's got time to sit through 20,000 fights to get all these points, and then like you see the map, you're there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I ain't got time for that.
I think the thing is, it comes up a lot because a lot of people, it's in their top 5 at least. And then when you talk about things like, what's the game with the best story? Sometimes that's this, and it's like best soundtrack, best this, best that. So it gets mentioned a lot. So I wouldn't necessarily call it overhyped, but I will agree that it gets talked about a lot. So if
we've got an independent person. There we go. You agree with me?
Agree.
Too ill to be on camera, but not too ill to agree with Mr. Daubs.
So that's an independent person there, completely independent.
But I do like your models you got there on the back, the Sephiroth and the Cloud. You've got behind you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and on the bike as well, very nice.
The Cloud on the bike is the original 1997 figure. And
wait, on me, dude. It ain't on me.
The wrong screen, Daubs.
and the if I
can
try and move the right way.
I've
got the original ones down the bottom from the 90s, and then the big black box is the bike edition for the remake, and then the box figures are from remake as well.
See, I'm sure Ollie had the
bike. I'm sure Ollie had the bike.
I don't have the original. I would love that original one from the 90s, because that is an absolute beautiful thing. But I've got the one for the remake that Play Arts did.
Very good.
And I've got a few of the the extra night. Well, I'm only missing. Who am I missing? Looking up Sephiroth, I'm missing from the extra night stuff as well. So it's they started getting pricey now.
I've got like a Cloud and the Bike from Advent Children that's still boxed. And I've got a Highwind.
I have that as well. Yeah,
got a Highwind that's boxed as well. I did have a Odin summon that was in a box, but unfortunately there was an incident. The box got damaged, so I decided to take it out of the box because the box was broken at that point. An incident, yeah. And then I've got a Sephiroth statue, but it came with like the sword was a bit damaged. Unfortunately, it got knocked over and some of his hair's broken off, so it's not in the best condition. But I've got a little Sephiroth statue, not dissimilar to one you got behind you there. So I've got a couple of bits.
Oh, we've got a request already, John.
A request?
Yeah.
I know this person. They're a
Have you
regular
got
on
the
our
Panasonic
stream.
one?
Yeah.
Show the special GameCube.
There you go. First request.
The special GameCube.
Have you got? He hasn't got the Panasonic one, have you?
The Panasonic one. Well, would you believe? And this wasn't even planned either.
I wanted this.
This
is what I
We had
want.
it within reach as well.
Is it?
So,
Oh,
look at it!
yeah.
There it is.
yes,
Oh
That's
my
what
life.
that's what I want.
Yeah.
I already want that. It's
Wow.
it's
awesome.
my favourite of all of my
Oh,
gaming collectibles.
That is pretty. Yeah, that is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that is a
Yes.
very sought after GameCube.
I've been.
What's
I'm
that?
after one of them.
It was the Holy Grail back in 2001. Obviously it was Japan only, wasn't it? And I
Yeah.
always wanted one, and I could never get one. I could never afford one. And a couple of years ago, one just happened to come up on eBay, and I'd just sold a few things, and I had a bit of money sitting on my PayPal, and I thought, oh, I'm never going to use it. It's going to be Japanese only. I'm never going to touch it, but oh, go on then. So I picked it up, and I love it. It's one of the only gaming things that I actually have in my living room, as I tend to keep all my gaming stuff at work, really.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mine's the Virtual Boy. I got the
Ooh,
Virtual
nice.
Boy. But the thing is, I bought it, and my brother lives in the States, and it sat at his house for 2 years because I hadn't been over to get it. He came over, forgot it. My mum went there and came back, forgot it. And then just randomly, one of his mates from school just brought it back for me in his suitcase. And I just got a message, oh, by the way, I've got your Virtual Boy. I was like, shut up. He's like, no. Yeah, I was like loving it. I drove straight to his house to pick it up. Yeah, it's brilliant. But I'm really after that GameCube. That's my next big purchase, I think.
It's got to be
I
done.
don't know
Got to
how
be done.
good they're sought after there.
It looks expensive.
Shiny, all shiny stuff does.
Shiny. Yeah.
Right. So, moving swiftly on to our next question for you, John. Another question that we ask everyone that comes on is: do you have a favorite game, a favorite console, or a favorite game and a favorite console? And they don't have to be for the same systems either.
Well, kind of already touched on it. I'm sorry to say, it is Final Fantasy VII.
Well, that's it.
I knew that was
Thank
coming.
you very much.
Hang on. Obviously, yes, it is a mess. The structure is a little bit here and there in places. The random battles are just a product of their time. But for what it meant to me at the time, I'd done Final Fantasy VI beforehand. So I kind of knew what to expect. And it was just a case of, the production values on it. It was over 3 CDs, all the cutscenes that were in there. I loved the story, all of the characters. The soundtrack, everything that everybody says, all those cliches, it's all true for me. And I absolutely love it. I play it probably every couple of years. I'll do a run through. And the PS1 as a system, definitely my favorite system. As previously mentioned, shutting down, of course, it was Final Fantasy VII. Well, of course it is. How could you just all this stuff?
I think it's one of those games that
yeah,
was quite pivotal, wasn't it? So, like, it was. I mean, you mentioned you played 6. That was the first Final Fantasy VII game I played. Probably the first big RPG, and the graphics at the time and the scale of the game was for a lot of people the first time they played a game of that scale. I think, which is why it is cemented in so many people's memories and why it's the top of many people's lists. If you say your favorite game, it tops quite a lot of people's lists. I think.
I think it was technically superseded very quickly with the likes of things like Suikoden, Final Fantasy VIII. Indeed, fixed so many issues and streamlined so many things. But the nostalgia that I still get from that game, it really hasn't been beaten in the 24 years since it first came out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
nearly 25. I think it's 25 in January. I think I'm sure it's January.
because it would have been in Japan. I think it was November '96. It might have even come out. We didn't get it till like nearly a year later.
Wow.
But then, of course, we've got the remake from 2020, and the remake definitely polarized a lot of fans, and I think the remake is actually fantastic. I think people expected too much from it, but the nostalgia pop that I got from the remake was absolutely fantastic, and I'm a big fan of the remake as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that remake. I know there are some purists that for some reason were really sort of gutting by it. And won't give anything away because in this world of spoilers,
it's a sequel.
Exactly. It's delightful for people to play it and experience it. And I don't think it helps if you've played the original. I think to be able to play it and enjoy it.
It's definitely not as strong as an RPG if you haven't played the original. If you don't have that ingrained love for the characters, and a lot of it is very much alluding to what happened in the previous game, but not yet at the point in the story where the remake is up to. There's a lot of sort of nods for fans in there. It's definitely, it's a love letter style game. But I think someone coming into it completely fresh just onto the remake will be like, yeah, this is a little bit, lacking in some parts. It is quite basic in some elements. There's definitely filler and stuff like that in there, but I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for it. So.
Do you think I should try and attempt the remake?
Yes, mate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think haven't done the remake either yet.
If your biggest issue is the random encounters and battles, the fighting in it is very different. It's a lot more. There's still some turn-based elements to it, but it's a lot more action-based.
Yeah,
it's a lot more fast-paced. You feel like you're in a fight.
He doesn't do cutscenes either, though. By the way, don't forget.
I don't do no.
Skip the cutscenes. Skips cutscenes and don't know what's going on.
Skip the cutscene, but yeah, because it was free when you got PS5. I'm sure it's one of the games that you can download for free.
It's been on download now. Yeah,
it's been on PS Plus. That's for sure. I know it was on PS Plus for a short
Maybe
time.
it was PM Plus. Yeah, maybe I added it to my library. On that.
It's very good. You can pet it for a bit, and if you don't like it, you can drop off, can't you? But it's worth it. Well, definitely worth a try.
Yeah. To be fair, Dorbs, I think there's a few Final Fantasy games that you might get a kick out of because there are some. I'm not. This is controversial in terms of Final Fantasy fans, but I'm not the biggest fan of the steampunk ones. So I like 9, but I don't love it. I don't overly like 12, and 12 is borderlining sacred with Final Fantasy fans. I much prefer the ones that are in the dystopian futures, the modern era type stuff. And there's definitely things like Final Fantasy 15. Again, it had fans a little bit split some of the way because some people liked the open worldness of it and the fighting systems in it, but it was so not turn-based Final Fantasy that I think a lot of people were like, oh, I feel like I'm missing out. But I really liked it. So you might get a kick out of something like 15 because you can see all the battles in front of you and just kind of go, yeah, I'm not doing that, and just run off, walk around it, get in your car, get in your plane, fly over it, and just kind of do what you want to do.
I'll give it a go, but I won't pay for it if I can get it for free.
I can lend it.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll give anything a go. I'll give anything a go, to be fair.
Excellent. So there we go. Another one for Final Fantasy. We've got to be up to even numbers now of people that weren't so keen and people that really like it. Got to be at even numbers now, I think. Okay, so moving swiftly on to our next topic for you is what got you into the gaming industry? Or how did you get into the gaming industry? Let's go with either of those. What or how?
I don't know if I would consider what I do to be in the gaming industry. I work with games, but I don't make games. But I suppose I promote games and I sell games still. So yeah, okay. Crikey, where are we? Right. So basically, to condense my life story into a couple of minutes for you.
Take as long as you want. We're all there.
Okay. So when my first job, when I was 16, I worked for a supermarket, stacking shelves like many 16-year-olds did. For reasons that I don't yet understand, I got a place at university and decided not to go because I quite liked having a job that put money in my pocket. And so instead of going to university, I stupidly made one of the worst decisions of my life and decided to go full-time at this supermarket instead when I was 18. So instead of getting a degree and going into a job at management level, I had to climb the greasy pole of supermarket management, which I did for the next 10, 11 years or so. And eventually I was at manager level in my mid-20s. And I was always thinking, one day I'd like to have a job where it's something that I've aspired to, like something that I've targeted, something that I want to do, rather than doing any job that I could get. And I hadn't really done anything with my life up to that point. So looking around, a management position happened to come up at our, I'll say, wasn't quite local, it was about an hour away, at our local game retailer. I'm sure you all know of Game.
Yes.
And so they offered me a deputy manager position at the store, which I actually turned down because it wasn't enough money for the travel. And I went back to the supermarket, and then a few months later, they came back to me and they said, "We've actually got a store manager task for you." So I took a job at Game as a store manager. That was my first job related to games. And that was actually originally in one of their Norwich stores, which is obviously near where I live now.
Yeah.
I was at Game for about 8 years. And in that time, I kind of moved around various local stores. So I went down and did like Ipswich and Colchester and Cambridge, and seeing different regions and getting involved in that whole retail side of the business. So a lot of that would mean you would go to a lot of like trade events, so you'd get in touch, so you'd speak to and see quite a lot of like developers. You'd learn quite a lot about the marketing and the promotional side of the industry through the retail side of things. I went through the absolute nightmare of Game when it went into administration back in 2012, if anyone's familiar with those dark times. And my store was it was just blind luck that one of my stores wasn't the ones that closed at the time. They did their dodgy deals and rescued the company. And then we had the launch of Xbox One and PS4 and The Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5, all in the space of like 4 months in 2013. And I remember thinking to myself at the end of 2013, my God, I've had enough of games retail. I think I've done console launches. I've done the biggest entertainment launch of all time with GTA. I feel like I've seen everything that's worth seeing on this side of the games industry. And that was when I started to think about, I'd really like to run my own business and be my own boss, do my own thing. So it was really a case of thinking to myself over the course of the next couple of years, what do I know about? What do I love? What am I good at? What are my skills? And my skills were in customer service, video game knowledge, video games retail. And so the plan for the One Life Left Norwich Gaming Cafe, as it is now, it was born simply of me seeing what I loved and what could I do. And I just kind of mashed it together. And it kind of formed the initial plan for what would become the OLL Cafe. So long story short, that's basically it. And then I worked on a business plan, got a business loan, all the boring business bits and all the legal stuff that only took about 2 years. There's then obviously being with the cafe side of things, I needed some qualifications in terms of things like, food and drink service, the health and safety stuff that goes along with that and all that kind of stuff, and licensing, that kind of thing. So I chose to leave Game. I left Game in 2015 and I took a job at a cinema in Norwich. I won't say which particular one, because the cinema would provide me for free all of my licensing and training for all of the hospitality qualifications that I would need to have for the business. So I worked at the cinema for, I ended up being there for about 2 years, but the whole time I was at the cinema was with the goal of, I was just waiting for a premises to become available, waiting for my licenses to all come through and all that kind of stuff. And the minute they were, we found a spot, got the keys, opened the cafe in 2017. And yeah, that was 5 years ago now. It's gone really quick.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. amazing.
There you go. There's basically my entire life history in 5 minutes for you.
I had a
Amazing.
brief stint at a cinema myself when I was a student, and great place to work because we got all the staff screenings.
Yes.
So midnight on the night a film comes out, they actually encouraged us. I presume we had the same. They would actually encourage staff to go and watch the films at midnight, so that the next day when the public can go and watch them, if anyone asks you a question about the films, you've watched them all. And I worked there around the time that the third Matrix film came out, and the time that the third Lord of the Rings film came out. And they did a staff screening where they timed it, so we watched the Matrix, then the Matrix, is it Reloaded, the second one, then Revolutions is the third one?
Yeah,
So we watched all three back to back. So obviously when the second one finished, it was around midnight, and then they started the third one, which was the new one. And then we did the same for Lord of the Rings. So we actually watched the Matrix trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy back to back in the cinema. So that was quite a good run.
Lord of the Rings on quite a while.
Yeah,
9 hours?
it wasn't the extended cuts, to say. So yeah, we did.
Thank God. Oh.
But it's like a staff only. They booked out the thing for the staff, and it took quite a long time to do. But obviously, yeah, we timed it so that we started watching the third one at midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah,
Oh
good,
my
good.
life.
Yeah, because you have to watch it at midnight for legal reasons.
Of course you
can't-
do. Yeah, of course
You
you do.
can't
Yeah.
watch
can't
it
do it
before
a
it's
minute
actually
before.
due out. So at midnight,
Yeah.
that's technically the day that you're allowed to watch it.
Because
And then we
my
opened it
friend
at
used to work in one. I just used to sneak in, like he used to like sneak me in the back, and I just used to sit in the corner and like get straight in and see all the films for free. So it's all right.
I remember my first 3 months in the job working at the cinema. My starting day was the day that James Bond Spectre came out. And that was like 4 weeks before Star Wars Episode 7 came out. And it was just the worst complete cluster bleep for the first few months of the job. But just to sort of pause on the cinema thing for a minute, one thing that I found working at the cinema was, because I was new and I don't know, perhaps a bit gullible or stupid, I don't know. And I never questioned it, but I was always put on the late shifts. So I would start work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would work until somewhere between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., depending what time the last film finished. And I would always get home from work at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I wouldn't be able to sleep because obviously just busy, just getting home from work. So between 2015 and 2016, solely within the hours between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., over the course of a year and a half, I wrote a book about every video game that I've ever played.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which was it was really weird. I ended up writing this whole book. It's like 80,000 words, and it's how I can remember so many memories from when I was younger about games that I've played, is because I've actually got a spreadsheet where I actually calculated and like went through basically lists on Wikipedia, and I kind of made this kind of whole timeline of my entire life, of where I was, what year I was in at school, what did I play this, when did I play that.
Dude, that's awesome.
Amazing.
It was a really good way to
Yeah,
kind of
remember.
like rekindle all of those old memories of all my old games and when I played them. So I have a relatively clear memory of most of the things that I've played. Available on Amazon Kindle now for $1.99.
Amazing. It'd be. Has he got a link?
Oh, he's only gone and found it.
Look at that.
Don't
There
look
you
at the
go.
paperback price.
Look at that,
The
54
paperback
quid.
price is made on demand. Oh,
Oh my God,
if you got-
$54.99.
Yeah, they're made bespoke if you want an actual physical copy of the book. I've only ever sold one of those. But yeah, if you've got Kindle Unlimited, if you're on Prime, you get it for free as well on your Amazon app.
Oh
Yeah.
Beautiful. Look
It's
at
got
that.
full pictures and everything.
Wow, that's amazing.
Not that I
So
wanna-
how could you remember? Did it just a case of just like trying to remember your games that you played, look at them, and then just instantly
Yeah,
it will come flooding back?
literally before I wrote a single word of the book. It would just be, I'd go on Wikipedia and I would type in list of Mega Drive games, and I went through the entire list of Mega Drive games and like basically just writ down every game that I've played, and then I worked out who was I playing that with at the time, which friends did I remember enjoying that with, and put it all in a book. So yeah, it's basically a review of pretty much every video game from 1985 to 2016. Basically my life story in there. So if you want more than a 5-minute recap of my life for whatever reason, you can have a look at that.
we can get a little sneak
There you go.
preview here.
Oh, by all means, go for it. There you
Oh,
go,
that manhole.
manhole.
That's
First
great.
game.
Game and Watch, there it
Manhole.
is. There
There
it
you go, the
is.
first
I remember that.
This is amazing.
Fantastic. It's
Oh, wait,
not
the
that I
next thing.
not
The
that I
next thing should be the thing you hold up to your face.
Oh yes, I know which one you mean.
Oh, there you
California
go. There's all the
Games,
list of all my
classic.
Oh,
games.
Chuck
Look at
Rock. I
that.
played through Chuck Rock.
beautiful. Do you know,
Call of Duty.
I'm going to have to give this a go because this is
There's
the
a-
sort of thing
Amazing.
that would really be enjoyable to read. I really like, especially with gaming. I love people's personal experiences with gaming because gaming is such a personal thing.
Heavy Rain, yeah.
This is ticking a lot of boxes for me. I've got to say.
There's a whole chapter at the end which is an end book stats screen where I've gone through using all my spreadsheets and stuff that I made for the book, doing like
That's
average
amazing.
rankings per console, and I've ranked the consoles based on all the review scores of specific games and franchises, and I think it worked out the franchise I've played the most was probably
Tony Hawk.
Tetris, I think.
Yeah, there they are. Uncharted.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Tony Hawk was in
Excellent.
Virtual Co-op.
Not that I want to bring up, the ideas of books, and it's nice to have somebody on a stream who's written a book that we can actually market and kind of be like, you know what, give this one a go.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a
Free if
there's
you've
a-
got a Kindle Unlimited as well.
beautiful,
Oh,
dude. That's incredible.
wow.
I
That's
am
amazing.
Yeah.
Cheers, thank you.
definitely going to be.
I didn't come
looking
here with
into
the intention of plugging my book, but thank you.
Well, if you make a couple of sales, £55 a pop. That's,
Israel, have
that's
I got the
amazing.
physical book to hand? You know what? I have actually got a copy of the book in my drawer right here, but I can't open my drawer because my microphone bracket is kind of clamped in front of my desk, and I can't open the drawer. But
That's what
yeah,
you
sorry.
can put it on when you put it on Twitter or something,
Yeah, why not?
and we'll see that.
Amazing.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I'm
Love
definitely
it.
gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, gaming is such a personal thing, and even when it's games that I'm not overly keen on, if people love it, I just love listening or reading about people that just really enjoy it. So yeah, I think that's ticking a few boxes there. So there we go.
Mm.
Okay, so
I think we got some of your fans here, John. Kisra.
I've seen a couple of names pop up there that look
Yeah.
like some of my regulars. I say my
Kisra's
regulars.
he seems to be
Kisra's there in
commenting quite a lot.
every stream we do, every social media post we do. Kisra is like there, probably our very best supporter and
Oh,
best cafe
fantastic.
customer as well.
Excellent.
Oh,
Are they
yeah,
going
there's anyone
to Are they going to OLL 2022?
I would very much hope that they are.
Good. Excellent.
excellent. Well,
forward to-
welcome all the new people. It's
Yeah.
it's really
Might
nice
be
to see
seeing
some
them,
new
yeah.
names and new faces, new names in the chat. So this is great. Love it.
And hopefully
Glad
they
stick around.
brought them along
subscribe to
for
our
you.
YouTube channel. That's good.
Okay, so sliding nicely onto our next topic, which if Dorbs has written it in right, there we go. Are there any games is there a game or games that you are currently playing at the moment, or anything that you're really sort of really into?
Yes. So I'm a big motorsport fan. I love my Formula One. I've watched and enjoyed Formula One since I was a little un. I'm not one of these new Drive to Survive fans. But I love F1, and so I'm quite big into like sim racing, and so I do quite a lot of that. So kind of like my ongoing game, so to speak. A lot of people have, Final Fantasy 14, or they might have Warcraft or League of Legends, something like that. For me, it's whatever the current F1 game is. So F1 21 is what I like to play. I've got a wheel set up and all that nerdy stuff, which is great fun.
Yeah.
In terms of normal games that I'm playing, I'm currently about 4 hours into Halo Infinite, and I'm absolutely loving it so far. It seems it's typical Halo. It's exactly what you'd expect it to be. It hasn't done anything spectacular yet, although it does look incredible. But I like the fact that the missions just bleed into each other. It is just like one big world. Thoroughly enjoying it so far. The graphics
I've just downloaded that.
which is nice. But yeah, very, very good. But I've always liked Halo. The original Xbox with the first Halo, aside from the PS1 where you had that generational leap and it's like, oh my god, look at amazing 32-bit CDs and all that sort of stuff. The original Xbox, I back in my supermarket days, I actually spent 3 years doing night shifts. And when you work back in those days, when you worked night shifts, you got a really good rate of pay for it. It was like time and a third. So there I was, 21-year-old or 20-year-old John, and I was taking home like £400 a week in my pocket, and it was brilliant. And I just blew it all on games and other stuff. But I was able at the time, November 2001, I imported an original Xbox and a GameCube, both from America on day one.
Wow.
So I had my PS2, which came out with what? Ridge Racer. Which Ridge Racer was it? Ridge Racer 5 on PS2?
5, yeah, I think it was 5. Yeah.
Yes, looking at my Ridge Racer games, it's 5, on PS2.
It was average. Speaking of, slight tangent, Ridge Racer 6, I've been playing that on my Xbox Series X because it's backwards compatible. And, oh my God, that game is amazing.
Rising price game too.
Indeed it is. Unless you just change your account details to an American address and buy it on the American store for $8. That's the way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I would recommend doing any of that, of course.
Of course
yeah,
not, no.
$8, mate. That's the way to go. Anyway, where was I? But yeah, the original Xbox. I had the American Xbox, with the Duke controller and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I had the original Halo. And again, that was a huge leap in tech. Even better than, way better than what the PS2 was capable of at the time. Because the American version of the Xbox, unlike the European one, it had the component out, so you could do 480p resolution. So you had that, and like the first true HD games, things like Ninja Gaiden and stuff like that. So yeah, very good memories from original Xbox, and in particular Halo.
Did you were you an early adopter of the Xbox Live?
I was there on day one.
That was I. That was I.
Oh, good man. But yeah, I've got a 20-year badge thing now, which is quite cool. The only annoying thing is, though, I did actually, my membership lapsed for about 6 months after about 10 years. And I lost my gamer tag. And I'm a big Guns N' Roses fan. And my original gamer tag was Slash. Without any weird numbers or spaces or underscores, I managed to get the actual name Slash as my gamer tag because I was there on day one, and I lost it. I've always been gutted about it. But yeah. Anyway, coming back to it, Halo Infinite is great. I am now Slasher with an ER at the end.
I played the multiplayer on Infinite. They launched that first, didn't they? You can use it on Game Pass. So I was playing the multiplayer online with a few friends, and it's pretty good. I'll have to check out the campaign. And
I don't have enough friends to play online multiplayer. I'm not really a huge fan of online games. I like my single player experiences.
I mean, I normally do, but with Halo, we played through Halo Reach together because when Halo Reach came out, it just had the perfect storm of like we're all free on the same night of the week. We all liked the game, and we're all just dedicated to playing through it. And then when they did the weekly challenges. I think 1 week the challenge was to beat the first level on legendary difficulty with lassos, like legendary difficulty all skulls on, and we did that. And then the following week it was do level 2 on lasso, and then it was do level 3, and we started playing it. And then before we did, it was like we better keep this going because we're going to be able to beat the whole game on lasso, which we eventually did. So that was really good. But considering I was able to do that, and now I'm going back playing Halo Infinite online, I'm still terrible when it comes to playing other people online. Considering I can beat the game on the hardest setting on Reach, I go play online. It's like, I'm still, my kill to death ratio is not always in my favour.
No, I think Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon, those are the two games that can sell an Xbox to me.
Forza's really good, mate.
This is the
really
first generation since 360. So my first proper paychecks and being able to buy consoles would have been 360, PS3, Wii era. So I just bought all of them because I was like, oh my God, I'm still living at home and I've got disposable outgoing and I can buy everything. I'm just going to buy everything. And then this generation is the first time where I've just kind of gone, right, I'm going to pick PS5 and I'm just going to stick with that until there's something in the next one that really makes me kind of want it. And, a year in, I'm like, there's a couple of things. But now it's, Forza Horizon and Halo Infinite, the two of those, it's like, I think 2022 is going to be my Xbox Series X year. I think that'll be where I'll jump into that one because, Infinite looks fantastic. My son's playing it on PC at the moment. It looks it looks wonderful. He hasn't let me play it yet, purely because he's playing the crap out of it. But it's nice to see him playing something that isn't Honkai Impact 3rd for a while. He's plowed thousands of hours into that, and it's nice to see him playing something different for a change.
I'll tell you what the game changer is it's Game Pass, mate. It's so good, and what you get, and the fact you can stream it, and you get all the games. You get like what I saw on there the other day was. Do you remember the game Black on Xbox? When that first came out, that's on there, and that's a really cool. I remember that was a really good game at its time. I remember that was like one of the first ones that would have bits of the wall or anything fall off if you shot it in that.
Yeah,
that's the first person shooting. Excellent game.
Is anybody else playing anything of worth at the moment? Before we slide on into other topics,
I've just completed your Evil Inside game that you kindly lent me.
It's a bit tripe, isn't it?
It's not the best. Yeah, it's like you said, it is a PT ripoff, a complete ripoff. You can tell. But yeah, 45 minutes, platinum, nice easy platinum, job done. So I'll need to drop that round soon.
As and when, mates, no worries.
I know you're desperate for it, but
that's the trouble of being a physical media collector. So this is why your book, John, is there's that itch in the back of my mind that's like I could have the Kindle version, or there is a physical one. It's that physical collector in me. That's
if you want to buy the £55 physical version, I will go right ahead. You'll be the first person apart from me that actually has.
I'll tell you what, Ollie, you can buy it and then get it signed in January. There you go.
Could. There we go. We can make that work. What have I finished? Well, I finished Evil Inside, lent that to Dorbs. Finished Alan Wake fairly recently. I think we said that on the last stream. I'm
still playing that, actually. Thinking about it. Still playing that. I'm enjoying it more than what I was last week.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it more now. Now can figure out how to get loads of ammo and stuff. It's not too bad. It's not great, but not too bad.
Wicked.
But yeah,
I'm imminently about to start a game called Song of Horror on PS4. It didn't have a PS5 do. Apparently it's like a survival horror that's sort of more akin to like original Resident Evil, Silent Hill type stuff, with like a fixed camera that kind of moves around your character, and it's got that heavy rain vibe where if characters die they don't appear later in the game, so it's got that bit of replay value and stuff. So I'm sort of looking at it now thinking might give that a little start this evening, see how that cracks on. Dorbs Blunners looks like he's sort of gesturing for something here.
No, so I'll just itch a while. But no. I'm still playing Pokemon with my daughter. Yeah, no, I'm still playing Pokemon with my daughter, and we went back to Mario for some reason today. We decided to start that one again, Mario Odyssey. She's already completed it, and she's 6. Yeah, she's completed it, and she's 6. So
Mario Odyssey.
I'll go back and play it again.
I started playing again today. I'm still going through Ni no Kuni 2. I'm a few more hours in, but on my handheld, I started playing on Alicia Dragoon again because I recently did that video about 5 Mega Drive platform games that I felt deserved a sequel. I didn't get one, and on that list is Alicia Dragoon. So I played it recently just to get footage of the game for the video, and I just had an itch to play it again. Like, actually, that's quite a fun game. I'm going to play it again. I got to the end boss, and I've done because it's an emulator. I've done a save state, but the end boss is ridiculously hard. Never would have beaten that as a kid. I think I only got to like just before the penultimate level, the boss at the end of level 4, because it's not that long a game. I don't think I ever beat it on the Mega Drive. I only got that far years later when I could like save it and stuff like that. So, but I actually managed to get through. I was only saving at the start of levels now, so I can actually clear a whole level rather than doing like the cheeky save states constantly. If you've not played that is a really good game, Alicia Dragoon. Great fun.
I have not played it, so I should add that to my list. Is that on any of the Mega Drive collections?
I don't know if it's on the collection. I think it's on the RG351P.
Okay. In that case, it
might not be. I might have added it myself because I had that ROM of it already, so I may have added. But you're welcome to my ROMs if you want some ROMs.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're not supposed to download them, but I have them on a hard drive.
Going on here?
That's not downloading them. So it's I think it's only you're only supposed to not download them. I don't think there's any rule about getting them off of a hard drive. So I bought a few RetroPie boxes that came with pre-installed games on a hard drive. And
it's all right. Dorbs has got plenty of backups of all of his games anyway. So
it's very weird. Actually, I did actually look into like the legality of it because it is a weird area. But the emulators themselves are perfectly legal. I think it's just the downloading ROMs. Or I think more uploading is the problem. If you upload ROMs, that's where a lot of the issues lie. But where a lot of these games, you can't buy them from the developers anymore anyway, unless something ends up on something like an Evercade, where you can buy it from the actual content, the actual creators. But if you're going to buy a copy of Alicia Dragoon, you're only going to buy it second hand from CEX or buy it off eBay. You're not going to be able to buy it from a shop. So I suppose it's you're not taking anything away from the people that have the rights to it, and by having a ROM, are you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't chip a modern console. I've never done that. I've just bought a retro Pi to play NES and Mega Drive stuff, because do know some people do do modified. I think the PlayStation 2 was one that you could chip. I think people would chip it and get dodgy copies of games, the PS2 and things like that. But I've never.
All of them.
Dreamcast had that as well, didn't they? Yeah.
Lots of people at school were doing that. I think at the time when you sort of CD burning became quite a big thing, and I think one of my mates just figured out. I think Dreamcast. I'm sure you could potentially do it with PS1 games as well. But
PS1 was literally like a normal CD, mate. So yeah.
So I just remember people going down
I knew
Blockbuster and
someone.
they would just rent everything and then go and buy a bunch of discs from Curry's, and then by the end of the week they'd have like 150 like game collection, and you're like, surely someone somewhere thought about this.
Yeah, right, it's mad, isn't it? Considering like what you can fit on a card, like obviously with things like the RG351P, like that, those Albanic series ones you get, like the SD cards, like they're like the size of a fingernail, and you just fit so many games on that. And you think like how many discs and things like how much space, and then think to now we can get it on that size of device and plug it in. It's mad how how far that technology's come now, isn't it? You could,
right, let's quickly move on before we get raided.
I was going to say, Dobbs is going to move us on. Just before we do, there's a comment there from Emily Morgan. Weird take. I miss burning CDs. Fun fact: if any of my mates still want an album from me, if I say, "Oh, I've got the new Angels and Airwaves album or another album," or they want something, I still burn it to disc for people. There you go. So
I tell you what, was really great.
Allegedly.
My old laptop, this died a death now. It used to have a LightScribe drive, and you could get these discs. Don't know if you've ever seen LightScribes.
Yeah,
you'd get these special discs. You would put the disc in upside down, and you would burn an image onto that side of the disc. And it was so sad. It looks so cool as well. You'd see it like on the screen, it'd show you how much it had done, and it would just pop out, and you just have this really professional looking CD you could just make in your laptop. But that was on my old laptop that's died now, so I can't do it now.
Oh, please be smashing down your door in a minute. That's good.
I haven't done anything illegal. All above board. All above board.
So, moving on to the OLL Convention 2022, the thing that we are absolutely eager to get to. We're very, very excited that it's happening. Let's go with it. How has it sort of gone from having the One Life Left cafe and merging that into having what is now a convention as well?
Okay, so story time with John again. Here we go.
Yeah, let's go.
So I shall take you back to 2017 when we first opened. I say we, it was me. When I opened One Life Left Norwich Gaming Cafe, which is still there right now in the same way. When we opened the cafe, and for anyone who isn't aware of who we are and how it works, basically, if you imagine like a Costa Coffee, but with TVs and game consoles on the tables, that is basically what the business model is. We have 15 game stations, we have various consoles, everything from sort of retro 80s things right up to PS5s and whatnot. And you simply, grab yourself a coffee or indeed a beer, because we are fully licensed in the evenings.
Beautiful.
And simply come along, play some games, whether that's just playing something on your own. Obviously, the kids want to do Minecraft and Fortnite, but then in the evenings when it's adults only, it's generally 4-player GoldenEye comes out, most weekends, and various things such as that. So as well as being a coffee shop, we also do, we have like a monthly events schedule. And so over the past 5 years, we've built up what is now quite a robust schedule with a lot of our local other gaming community groups in Norwich. Norwich is quite well known for having quite a large and diverse gaming community. And this was one of the reasons why I decided to open up in Norwich, as opposed to looking at, Ipswich or Cambridge or Kings Lynn or, other close towns and cities. Norwich, before I opened the cafe, I was aware that there were some gaming communities, and we knew that we could do some sort of events with these kind of best hosties in Norwich. Thanks, Kisra. Quite true, apparently. Better than Jamie Oliver's, according to a review that we had.
Do love a toasty.
And anyway, Jamie Oliver's closed down before we did, so yeah, maybe it's right. Anyway, so putting me off, Kisra. Where was I up to? So there's a there's a local Nintendo community called Nintendo Norwich, which is part of a national group of independent Nintendo fan community groups, which is part of it's a collective called Nintendo Players UK, which is officially recognised by Nintendo UK and stuff like that. We have the Norwich Amiga group, we have the Norwich Retro Gamers, and then we know that things like FIFA and Fortnite and all the usual staple games, they're popular everywhere. But it meant that we had these little sort of clusters of groups who didn't really have a home to go to meet up or anything. So we provided that space where these community groups could come and host their meets and their events and their themed nights here at the cafe. So we ended up with this monthly schedule where, on a Friday and a Saturday, we would alternate between giving the venue over to these local community groups. And then that's kind of built up to the point now where those groups are now so big that when we host certain events, our venue doesn't always now fit the amount of people that want to come along to these events. So, for example, if you look at, say, our local Nintendo community, Nintendo Norwich, they've got 700 or 800 people on their Facebook page, and I have 30 chairs in the cafe. So if they want to do an actual big event, that's a little bit tricky these days. Same goes to the Amiga group. They've got like an outreach of, I think, nearly 1,000 people now. It's ridiculous. So what we wanted to do alongside that, we would also do tournaments as well. So things like Smash Bros obviously is massive everywhere. So we thought what we would like to do is we had a few options. I keep saying it's just me. I'm the one in charge, damn it. The business and it got to the start of lockdown, and prior to the start of lockdown, so we're talking sort of Christmas 2019, I thought to myself, right, we've got the end of our lease is going to be coming up in 2022 or whenever it is. What are we going to do for the future of the business? Do we stay as we are, but without being able to increase our capacity? Or do we look for a bigger venue? Or do we look to do something different? Obviously, then we had COVID and lockdown and the world all fell apart and all that kind of stuff. So the last thing on my mind was looking for a larger premises and spending money, basically, because I'm a bit of a skinflint, as you have to be as a business owner. So it was really a case of, again, it was just a logical set of steps that led us to thinking, why don't we just simply do all of our regular events that we would normally do at the cafe across our weekends, do them all under one roof in one big thing, sell tickets to it, hire the biggest place in the whole of East Anglia for doing indoor events, and see if anyone wants to come. So I put the feelers out with our local community groups, and they're like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. I reckon that could probably work. We looked at some similar events that had taken place in the past and that kind of thing. And it was like, you know what, this could probably work. So we got in touch with a few venues. We decided like go big or go home, basically. So I just got in touch with the biggest venue provider, the Norfolk Showground, which is on the outskirts of Norwich, very easy to get to. And we looked at, what are the options? How much does it cost? All that kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. And it looked like that it was something that we could certainly do. We originally had this convention planned for actually about a year ago. We were originally looking at December 2020 because, of course, the pandemic was only supposed to last for like 6 weeks, and then it was all going to be
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to wait till December 2020. That's miles away. And then, here we are. So yeah, it all just kind of grew organically, really, into this point where the demand and the capacity for our events now leads us to the point that it's at the scale of a convention. And of course, we didn't want to just have the same people that we would normally get coming to the cafe coming to this convention, because they come to the cafe for free. They're not going to buy a ticket and actually go and pay to meet up with their friends. So we thought we'd have to have some other things at this convention to make it interesting. And it just so happens that I know or am on good terms and in communication with a number of reasonably well-known content creators / influencers / online personalities / film stars, whatever you want to call it, who are, it turns out, are based in and around the Norwich area. So we managed to secure these guys to come along as potential, draws to the event, to, entice people to come to the event. And one thing led to another. They spoke to some of their other content creator friends that they know, and they spoke to other ones that they know. And before you know it, we now had a whole slate of content creators now that are all now aware and now participating in the convention. So yes, long story short, the OLL, aka One Life Left, but you have to make it an acronym because that's cool. The OLL 22 Video Games Convention takes place on the 15th and 16th of January 2022 at the Norfolk Showground Arena. And all the information about it, if you've forgotten everything that I've said so far, all of the information about it is on the website, which is ollgames.co.uk. Oh, look at that. He's all prepared.
Look at this.
I like
it.
This.
30 days. My God, that's scary.
It is, yeah.
Before I sort of go into like specifics of it, I should obviously probably mention the COVID-sized elephant in the room.
Absolutely.
And say that
you go for it.
Of course, with the current circumstances, we do have a backup plan. We do have contingencies. There is currently no official restriction that is going to prevent the event from going on as intended. But obviously, we're not silly. We've been planning it with social distancing in mind right from the off. Like, every trader has a 3-meter wide area, stuff like that. One of the reasons why we went for the biggest event space that we could possibly get was because we knew that there could potentially still be things like distancing and all that kind of stuff. But of course, I can't necessarily control what Boris is going to do next. Who knows what Boris is going to do next? But suffice to say, we do have a plan for if there are any changes, and obviously that'll all go on the website and everything as you go through. But to keep it positive, we're going to have so much stuff going on with so many influencers, content creators, community groups, some of which are local to Norwich, all those ones that I've mentioned. We've also got quite a lot of people that are traveling quite some distance as well to put on events for us. It definitely has a retro twist, but there will be modern games there as well. But essentially, it's just going to be 200 games consoles, buy your ticket, come and play games, and then we'll have a stage. And on the stage, there will be talk shows, panels, tournaments, competitions, quizzes, all sorts of stuff going on stage with all the content creators who you can come and meet and enjoy their company for the full weekend. That's basically the crux of it. And I will gladly take any further questions.
Dude, it is something that we are absolutely buzzing to come and be at, if I'm totally honest, because it's conventions is a thing that I love. I've always gone to Comic Cons. I've always gone to movie conventions. I've always gone to games conventions. It's just something that I have always done, and to have not had it for a number of years, to put a finer point on it, has just sucked balls. It's been awful. So to have something like this sort of on the horizon, something that we can kind of look forward to, it's genuinely awesome. And I think this is probably why, more and more and more people have maybe sort of decided, I really want to come to this, because we're just so excited. We are so excited to come and just be in and amongst just gamers, and just sort of good. I mean, in terms of the retro gaming community, retro gaming revival is very new. We are very new to the retro community. I know some people have been doing this for a number of years, decades even. This was something that was born out of lockdown for us, and the YouTube side of things has been even shorter. I don't even know if we been on YouTube a year. I'm not entirely sure.
No.
So you know, from just coming into the community, the retro gaming community, we've already, you know, made, you know, so many friends that are, you know, so welcoming, and some friends, you know, have done very well out of the gaming community. You know, people like the Gebs 24, Lady Decade, and Top Hat Gaming Man. They're all going to be at OLL 22, funnily enough. And it's, you know, this could be an opportunity for us to kind of actually meet these people that we've spoken to, and, you know, have a really good laugh with. So this is, there's Ryan. He's there. We're all just absolutely buzzing to come up and be a part of this.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
we've got our hotel booked. We've got our taxi driver booked. So we're really looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't hear about it until we spoke to Gebs 24. She mentioned about it, and we're like, oh, I wonder what that is. And then we just obviously found the website. Started looking into it.
When it comes to the Gebs, I've followed her channel for a couple of years now. You know, she's now starting to go stratospheric, isn't she, with her stuff now? She's now streaming on Twitch and stuff like that. But I got in touch with her because I don't know how familiar you might be with Gem's videos, but she's had a couple of like custom consoles made in recent months, and the guy who makes them is in Norwich, and we know him. So it's another case of we know this person who knows this person who knows this person, and I imagine you know, a lot of the big influencer names, just to name drop a few people like, you know, Did You Know Gaming, Kadikarus, Uppy Snop Jump. You know, trying to get in touch with those guys can be very tricky because obviously they have PAs and gatekeepers, and they must get messages and requests from, you know, people every day. So it's been really good through the networking that we've had from our established cafe that we've built into that point where we're at the point where these people will now answer our emails, and that's how we've, you know, managed to get such a great lineup for the show, which we're very, very proud of. I should probably also thank the OLL team as well, because it's not just me that's done all of that. So shout out to Ash and Jack and Bill, Sarah, Emily, and anybody else who I've forgotten as well on the OLL team.
Excellent. Is there any, we're going to put you on the spot now, just because
how much can I remember from my spiel? Go on.
Is there anything that sort of has yet to be announced that you've got sort of planned that has yet to go on the website? Anything you can kind of tease anybody with? Anything that you sort of any events or any panels you've got coming up?
So we haven't actually yet announced the specifics in terms of who's going to be on various panels. A lot of that will be decided on the day with the various content creators. But I can tell you something that we haven't yet announced is we're doing a live stream.
Exclusive.
Well, don't get too excited, but yeah, it should be all right. So we're doing a live stream throughout the whole weekend as well. It's in aid of the Special Effects charity. If you guys are familiar with those guys, they create like modified controllers to make games as accessible as possible to people who don't necessarily have the ability to play through you know, the original means. Part of our live stream will be that we'll be inviting all of our guests and content creators, so the likes of Ashens, Tristabytes, you know, all those guys. We're going to try and get them on the live stream, and we're going to do a Tetris high score challenge between all of the content creators. We haven't advertised that yet. I don't know exactly which of them are going to take part, but they've all said they're going to do something on the stream with us. So hopefully we can get them for 5 minutes to do it. So that's kind of something to let you guys know first, that there's going to be a big Tetris high score feature, and we'll reward those content creators with some sort of a charity payment or something like a bulk lot of Twitch subs or something like that for viewers. But one point, just while I think about it, one thing that I've tried to keep important through the whole planning of the event is that it's not just about getting the biggest names that we could get to come to the event. We're billing it as a celebration of the biggest and best of gaming in our region. And while some of our content creators are coming from further away, I've made a specific point of inviting content creators and influencers of various scales. So it's not just about the guys that get millions of views, the Did You Know Gamings of the world and stuff like that. As amazing as it is to have those guys there and hosting our quiz, in which you can win a PS5, an Xbox Series X, and a Switch OLED.
Wow,
also,
didn't know that. Right,
there you go.
we're going to get revised.
Also, we want to champion like the smaller channels, the ones that don't always get loads of recognition, the ones that, you know, they're still working towards that first 1,000 subscribers, you know, those kind of scale things. Because rather like you guys, we didn't really do a lot of online stuff outside of the cafe, not seriously, until lockdown came, and, you know, we had no other option but to do online stuff to keep people engaged. And we recognized just how hard it is, and how much, you know, channels such as yourselves and stuff like that, how hard it is to do a regular show, and the effort that it goes to. It's not just a case of sit in front of your computer and, you know, stick your webcam on. There's a lot of planning that goes into it, and then you've got all your post-production editing, all the work that goes into it. And I don't think the small channels are always appreciated, really. So we've made a big effort to make sure that we've got content creators of all scales, and we do very much hope that within our guest area, as we call it, there'll be opportunities for, you know, for networking between various guests and stuff as well. And we very much hope that it's going to be, you know, a nice cozy event for all involved.
Yeah,
I think
as you know, we're a small channel ourselves, so yeah.
No, I think that's incredible. I really do, because there's so many there are so many events and so many different things where people do just always go for the big hits, the big people, the big names. And you're right, it is difficult in all means. You know, whether you're in a local band, whether you're in a small YouTube channel, or anything that involves community driven things, it's always difficult to get your name heard, and especially nowadays where there's so many voices on the internet. Sometimes it can be difficult to get your voice heard, no matter how loud you shout. So, I mean, I don't think I'd be speaking out of turn on behalf of Retro Gaming Revival when I say, thank you for doing that as part of your convention experience, and also thank you for having us up there. You know, we went on your, you know, we do check the website all the time, because, you know, we like to see what's going on and try and keep up with what's happening. And in the little section where you had the lists of names of all the people that are going to be there, and then me and Dobbs were at work and we're like, oh shit, there's our fucking logo. Dude, we're on a fucking website. Like,
it was on if anyone's listening from work, it was on our lunch break.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
Oh, there's Raw
There we
Talent.
are.
That's the
Boom.
that's the console chap, isn't it? The
Indeed it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see a little blurb on there. There's links to everyone's websites on there.
I'll pick one at random. Oh, here we go.
I wasn't expecting this page of the website to end up being as long as it's become. I thought we'd probably have about 10 people and that would be enough. But then every single person was like, oh, what about getting these guys as well? And it's like, yeah, all right. It's just built and built and built, you know. It's great.
I would like to think, I'm not blowing our own trumpet or anything, but
Careful.
No, because Geb's told us about it.
Yeah.
We told Essex Retro, and probably James as well from Itch Much More. So I like to think that we've enabled them to actually hear about it and be a part of it. So yeah,
to be fair,
I'm going to say it, they wouldn't have heard it.
Yeah, it's been. It's also, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, guys. But it's the smaller channels that do the most in terms of things like, you know, keeping your engagement on your socials. Like I see that you guys, you like and you retweet us all the time. You know, you get a lot more engagement from the smaller channels. You know, the likes of Did You Know Gaming, they're an international brand. They can't very well be retweeting about little old me in Norwich. You know, it doesn't quite fit what they do. So you know, it very much is, you know, the small and medium sized influencers and creators that do stuff. So, you know, people like the Gebs is really good for that. Nostalgia Nerd in Norwich, really good for that. But then, you know, that's something that I've kind of discovered now that I'm now that I have been kind of, mixing in the circles of all of these people, I've learned so much about how everything, they all support each other, sharing each other's contents and the collaborative work that they do together. I find it all quite fascinating, and it's very nice to now be part of that in a small part.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I think
It's all
one
quite
thing one thing I hope we get to do at some point is, obviously now we're a fairly small channel, we're a small slice of the internet, as Ollie put it recently, which I liked. And we've been lucky to have some big names on. We've had some people with quite a big following that have come on and talked to us, and it's been really nice of them to give us the time. And I look forward to the day where, if we do get to be a bigger channel, that we can then have a small channel on as a guest, and we can perhaps give them a big boost and give them a promotion, because we've had quite a lot of promotion from bigger channels that have helped us out, and it'd be nice to pay that forward if we ever get to the point where we're a larger channel. We can say, we'll bring on some smaller channels to come and promote themselves a bit through us. So it'd be nice to get to that point where we're sort of giving back a bit, because we've had a lot of we've had a lot of really welcoming things come to us from the retro gaming community, and a lot of people have gotten involved with our streams and helped us out. So I think one day we can do the same for others.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't believe that some people with 50,000 followers or whatever actually take the time to speak to us. It's so amazing, and it's such a good community. And I know Ollie's said it earlier, but we can't wait to come up and go to the convention. We're absolutely buzzing for it. I know, was it 4 weeks Saturday, isn't it? So
it is.
Cannot wait. Yeah. Cannot wait.
Current plan.
Yeah.
But yeah, in an aside from all of the the content creators and the panels and live streams and all this kind of stuff, there's going to be there's also going to be the typical thing from convention. There's going to be people with trades wares and people being able to like buy retro gaming product, and I'm presuming new
yes,
games
I probably should mention the people that are actually giving us money to run the event. Yes, all of the traders. There will be all sorts of merch available. We've got, on last count, about 35 to 40 independent traders.
Nice.
Some are national names, but basically, we've got Last Level Games. They're like the big retro store that are in Norwich, for actual games. And then there's so many other like gaming themed merch. So there's going to be clothing. There's going to be figures, comics, books, all sorts of stuff. Custom consoles, of course. That's a thought. Yeah, there is a custom Zelda Nintendo 64 as one of the quiz prizes as well.
There you go, Ollie.
Which would be nice.
I'm gonna have to start swatting up, aren't I? I'm gonna have to start dedicating my weekends.
So
to getting that knowledge.
It's not just the content creators, but and obviously the gaming areas as well. And it's worth pointing out that all of the activities are completely free as well. Once you've bought your ticket, it's not like
fantastic.
You've got to pay extra, other than your food and drink, and obviously if you buy anything from a shop. But all of the activities there, the quiz and everything, all completely free. So looking forward to a good show. Should be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in respects you said about panel members, about the panels, if you need any help with that, if you want us to pour drinks to the panel guests,
well,
we're happily get them drinks or anything.
This week and next, I'm hoping to finalise. I've got my lists of names, and we've got some various topics for conversations for people to have on the panels. And a lot of the content creators are very much retro focused. So things like Nostalgia Nerd and Ashens and those guys, they're very much focused on retro games. So we'll probably have like a retro themed panel. We'll probably have like a streaming themed panel for people who do live streams. But what I do actually need is some hosts for these panels to potentially ask questions. So if you guys might be up for that, that would be great.
Dude.
Or indeed appearing on the panels yourselves, of course, if you want to be involved with that. We'll,
anything.
Absolutely.
I was just happy to get them drinks, if I'm honest.
Well, you can do that too.
Get them snacks, yeah.
And obviously you guys will get refreshments vouchers as well, of course. You're obviously part of the guests as well. But anyway, I'll pop you an email about that once I've got it all worked out.
Dude,
fantastic.
That'd be great, man. If you want to do that.
That would be amazing. It's been one of those things that I've ever since going to gaming cons and gaming conventions and launches of things. It's like you sit there sometimes, you think, I'd love to be on one of them one day. So you
Yeah.
could make my dream come true here, John. This is
Yeah.
Well,
I
we'd,
think, you know,
we'd just be making up the numbers, won't we? Let's face it, we'd be making up the numbers.
I think that's going to be two things off the
Ryan
bucket
says
list
that
there.
Ollie loves a magazine stall.
Yeah,
does.
Ryan
He
likes
loves
to Ryan likes to frustrate the shit out of me because you can sort of see some of my comic collection back there, which is Ryan
Magazines.
loves to call them magazines purely because he knows it irritates the shit out of me. So cheers, Ryan. And,
We'll actually have we've got the new Sega powered magazine will be there. Actually, now I think about it. Which is written by former editors of the 90s Sega Power magazine.
Wow.
So you'll be able to meet those, and they'll have copies available, I understand, which could be quite cool.
Oh, fantastic.
It absolutely will. It scratch that physical itch on the back of that I always
go.
get as soon as something's physical media. You like, as you can tell, they're movies. It's just movies, games. I like physical media. I like the tangible product.
That'd be a good topic to have, actually. You know, physical versus digital. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't want to
100%.
do the same topics that everyone talks about all the time in shows and stuff. But
yeah,
that's a good one to go for. Awesome.
I think
Yeah.
I think Paul's had a few too many drinks tonight. Bless him.
Yeah.
one day, dude. I mean, Paul, that's totally. I'm glad you've got all the all that positive thinking for us, mate. That'd be wonderful. Just get all your mates to join in, subscribe, and go to OLL and say all these wonderful things about us, and we'll make it work.
The only thing about physical and digital is that the digital I can hide from the missus and she doesn't know I bought it.
You get space, isn't it?
Yeah, but then if you get locked out of your account, you're screwed, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I am more physical, but yeah.
I like my physical stuff. It's all up in the loft at the moment, and a lot of it's digital. Obviously, I use things like Game Pass you mentioned, so and I've got a lot of Retro Pi boxes, so I can play the games on emulators and stuff. But we did have a plan to build a garden office, and I was getting the real itch to buy lots of stuff to put in it. We've now put it on hold for a year, so I'm like, I won't go into why. There's logistics around it. We're like, we'll wait till next year. It's probably the best time. So I'm currently more leaning to doing digital stuff because of the space. But as soon as I get the space, if I've got a room, I'm gonna want to fill it with stuff. So
Yeah.
I definitely be up. But I'd have to make sure I just don't start buying stuff now, just in case something happens.
Yeah,
I did buy a big TV. I bought a CRT TV off of someone in our group actually who said, I'm getting rid of a big TV. It's like, that would go in the games room because I need it for like light guns because they don't work on TVs. Right? I was like, got a G-Con 45. I'd love to play Time Crisis. I want that size. Buy this big TV, stick it in the bit under the stairs and go, we're not going to build the office probably for about a year. I'm like, right, where am I going to put this massive TV that I bought? So yeah,
if you've got a big enough collection, why not just open a gaming cafe?
Well, I do. Yeah.
That way I don't have it all clogged up at home.
Just buy a cafe, put it in there.
Actually, just on the subject of physical versus digital, just one thing that I would like to plug. One of our main supporting exhibitors is the Centre for Computing History, which is based in Cambridge. I don't know if any of you have ever visited them or been there. It's basically it's literally what it says. It is a museum of.
Yeah, I want to go there.
Okay.
And they're actually going to be doing a stage presentation about the preservation of physical media. And it is very much that discussion about, the digital age, what's going to happen to those smaller titles, when subscriptions expire and stuff. Are we going to lose, a portion of the digital industry when subscriptions expire? And, the big titles, they'll be there forever. They'll get remastered or remade or, that kind of stuff. But, how much of it is just going to disappear now? Stuff that's only available temporary and all that kind of stuff. But a shout out for the Centre for Computing History because they are legends.
Excellent. I mean, that sounds like an essential.
Sounds like a day trip, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It's do you know? I just can't let go of physical media. I can't do it. There are some things that are digital only, and you kind of have to go down that route if that's what you want to go. Whether it be again music, movies, games, whatever it is. But for me, part of the experience of enjoying a product, especially with games and movies, for me is the actual going to pick up the product or it arriving at your house and actually holding the box. And it sounds really, really stupid, but for me, picking up the box of a game or a movie, my experience with the product starts then. because I'm enjoying the artwork, and then unwrapping it. It's almost like ceremonial, opening it and putting it into the console and letting it prepare to play. It's like it's a ritual that I've just always had since being a kid, and and I'm very lucky that my dad's he's not a hoarder. He likes to keep shit, and so from all of my early games on NES, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, he kept all the boxes because he was just that's the way his brain worked. So I'm eternally grateful for my dad for keeping all my original boxes, because now the boxes are it's almost the expensive part of game collecting.
Yeah, it definitely is, isn't it?
Like you say that, Ollie, I tried recreating the magic with my son. Yeah. So we went down, we picked up Mario day one, Odyssey. We get there, he's like buzzing because he loves Mario as much as I do. We walk up to the counter, go to pay, and she goes, "How old is he? He's not old enough." And I'm like, "What? It's Mario." And it had to be like, it was like a 7+, I think it was. And I was like, okay, you're now wrecking my dream here. So I literally just paid for it. So then I just paid for it, and in front of her, I just turned and gave it to him, and I was just like, "There you go." I was going, "Yeah, cheers." She's like, "Yeah, I'm not allowed to hand it to him." So I just done it in front of her. Yeah, I was fuming because I just remember, like you say, going there, like getting the box and all that. Yeah, and this woman just ruined it, and I was like, "How's Mario?" Like 7 or something. It was like, because it's got a bit of like jumping on things' heads and stuff. Yeah, it's just a bit weird.
That's why retro game shops, there's not that many retro game shops out there, these days, but the ones that are still going, it is great because you do still get that experience, and because the person who's working there is so dedicated to the cause, because you have to be to run a retro game shop. You still get that experience is still out there. But yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely not there for new games anymore. It's just you can really only get the physical games from big retailers, or indeed your local gaming cafe. It's nothing like how it used to be, is it?
No.
But there is one good thing about the digital revolution, is that when no more games are made physically, it does mean that one day our collections will be complete. Because there'll be nothing left to buy.
Do you know that would be wonderful? Everyone could say, "I've got a complete PS12 collection," and it will just it will sit. You're absolutely right. From a collector perspective, that's going to sit delightfully in my head.
I've almost got a complete collection of every Formula One video game ever released physically.
Wow.
That's ridiculous. What I collect.
Every single one.
But have you got the Microprose one? The Microprose F1.
I have all. You mean the Grand Prix series, Jeff Crammond's Grand Prix?
Yeah, it's on the Amiga.
I have all 7 versions on all formats of that one.
Wow, that's amazing.
I think last count was about 306 games in total.
Wow.
But the thing that made me go, I don't want to just flex about my sad little collection of F1 games. My point was that there was nothing to buy on the PC, because the PC version is now digital only. And that's what made me think about it, is that the collection isn't really going to go much beyond probably the 2020s, and then that's it, and then it's just physical only after that, which is just going to be sad.
It's I think this is where companies like Limited Run and there's a few UK based companies as well that do short print runs of games that were normally digital only, just for the people that just crave that physical box, that physical connection to a game. And I remember the first time I bought a Limited Run game was Firewatch. Shout out to my friend Simon Hammonds, who is he's a member of the group. He's one of my good skating friends as well. He recommended Firewatch to me, and I remember immediately looking on Amazon for it, or game, and it was like, oh wow, this is one of those digital only games. And then found that Limited Run had done a pressing of it a year ago, and anyone that keeps up with Limited Run stuff, as soon as it's sold out, and then you have to start digging into your pockets to try and find a copy of it. But there was a copy on eBay. For some reason, it was unsealed with, and I think one of the items was missing, but it was like 50 quid. Never played this game in my life, just heard people say it was good. But because there was a physical version of it for £50, or I could just digitally download it for £8, of course I went with the 50 quid one because I had to put it in. And it transpired the game's absolutely fantastic and one of the games of that generation, and it was, you know, absolutely worth every penny. So I don't mind spending that kind of money on it now. But it kind of just goes to show that there is a market, and I think there will always be a market for physical media in some
No,
100%
yeah.
format.
100%.
It's just like
One
how
thing-
you still get vinyl records, don't you? You know, it's a niche
Yeah.
of the market. It's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right there with limited run.
I still sort of miss the ritual of going out and getting movies. Like now, it's way more practical. It's like, I want to watch a film, you just launch Netflix or Amazon Prime, or whatever streaming service you have, and you got that huge library of films to choose. But there's something really nice about going up to your local Blockbuster or, you know, other retailer that did it, and renting movies and doing that. And obviously that's just completely gone now, isn't it? You don't really
Yeah,
get
it's a
any
shame.
video rental stores, because it is just way more practical just to download it or stream it or whatever, and watch it that
is.
way. But it was
I'm
always
still
how much
buying-
fun was it? It's more of an event, wasn't it? You'd have if your parents are like, oh, we're going to rent a movie tonight, it's like, great, you get in the car and you drive off and you look around the shelves and you feel like you're actually doing something a lot more. Whereas now it's like, oh, let's watch a movie. It's just,
Well,
Yeah.
makes you feel any better, dude. I'm still buying, you know, in every format that comes out. I'm very into the 4K picture. The picture is nicer on a disc than it is via streaming, and I'm still buying such classics as The Fog on 4K. I mean, that's a fairly niche market.
Oh, what's her name? Adrienne something? Is that the one?
No, Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is in this one, isn't she? Yes, she is.
What am I
It's one of
thinking
John
of?
Carpenter's movies. But yeah, I'm still
sure-
buying that. I've got
what's her name?
Demons
I'm gonna
1
have
and
to Google
2
her
on
name.
4K. Like, I'm. It's always going to be physical media for me. Dorbs, do we have a what's in the box?
I have got something, yeah. But before we do, I'm just looking at the distance between the Norfolk Showground and the cafe, and it's only a 15-minute drive. So I think what we can do is on the Friday when we go up is pop into the cafe first, and then go to the
Well,
to our
I'd
hotel.
love to say that, but the cafe's going to be closed.
Oh, you're joking. At least you told us now.
Because obviously, as you might imagine, I've got quite a lot of work to do in the 2 weeks before the event.
Oh,
So
suppose
the
we're
cafe
supposed to
will
let you
actually
off.
be closed for 2 weeks. For the first time in 5 years, the cafe is actually going to be closed for a week. Probably
there
the
you go.
2 weeks before the event. I'm really sorry to say. But obviously, we'll be open again afterwards. So
Excellent. Well, we are coming up on the Friday. We're going to be
We are,
leaving.
yep.
Tim, have you managed to get the whole Friday off now?
I have, yeah. It's now a whole day, not a half day.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
we'll be
Confirmed.
leaving in the morning and making our way up. So if we can give a hand setting things up, if there's anything you need a hand with, just
totally.
an extra couple of pairs of hands,
Yeah,
just
we'd be there
give
on
us a
Friday,
shout. We'll be
yeah.
more than happy to come down, give you a hand setting some stuff up on the Friday.
Yeah,
Sounds good
no
to
problem.
me. Cheers, guys.
Excellent. No worries.
Also, your Super Smash Brothers tournament, Tim has been
I
saying
have
he's
not
the
entered.
greatest player ever,
Yeah, but I haven't entered.
and he will
Tim
destroy
reckons
everyone.
equal.
I fancy
So
my chances. I'm not great at games really, but if there's anything I am good at, it's Super Smash Brothers, and that's probably the game I'm best
Yeah.
at. So if I'm
He's
going
been
to
bragging-
ever win
He's
anything,
been bragging for
You would-
weeks that he's going to annihilate you. So,
well,
Dorbs, you fucking wind up.
Fill it up.
Just to give you a quick bit of info about the Smash tournament, we host Smash tournaments as part of the East of England region, which are part of the Smash UK and Ireland scene and leagues and standings and rankings and whatnot. We have the main guy who's doing the TO, who's organising the tournament. He's like well known in like the European Nintendo circles and official circles, and he's run events in London with hundreds of players. He has told me that we have got coming to our Smash tournament the 2 best players in the UK. So by all means,
who's
There you
the
go,
other
Tim.
one? Tim's one.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Tim's one. Who's the other one?
but it would be fantastic to have you there, and obviously it would be great to get you in. That would be awesome.
Excellent.
There you go, Tim.
It's
Get
all
you
on the
in, Tim.
website. Check it all out. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get him in there. You've got to get in there, Tim. We've got to make it work.
Absolutely. You need to get in there, Tim.
To be
All
fair,
right,
the winner of the Smash tournament is likely. I mean, depending on what the prize pool is going to be, depending how many people enter, but if it fills, we should be about a £500 prize pot. So the winner's going to get about 350 quid. So
Wow, there you go, Tim.
cash prize, of course.
Excellent. Tim, you're going to have to get practicing now. You're going to have to pull out all copies of
Yeah.
Smash Bros. And
And can I just
dominate.
just very, very quickly, we've kind of already gone past the topic, but just on the topic of films, I just something that I just thought of. I saw a really crap film last night. Has anyone seen the new 8-bit Christmas film?
No.
No, I want to see that.
So it's Neil Patrick Harris telling the story of to his kids of how he got his NES in the late 80s. I watched it last night before I went to bed, thinking it will just be some trash, average, fun-filled Christmas film. And it was exactly that. It was a very cheap, by-the-numbers Christmas film, a bit like Jingle All the Way, where, kid wants to get present for Christmas, doesn't get present for Christmas. Then you expect at the last minute, everything all comes out. Turns out, at the end of the film, he doesn't get a NES for Christmas, and his dad dies. I thought, what a shit Christmas movie. So anyway, don't bother watching 8-bit Christmas. It's like it's like fun-filled, happy kids film, and at the end, it just goes really sad. So yeah, don't watch 8-bit Christmas. Anyway,
sounds really depressing.
Dang.
Wow. I did, Emily. Yeah,
that's hardcore. I mean, that sounds like a really distressing Christmas.
It's just really weird. It was all gearing up for like the happy Christmas ending and everything. And it was like, Dad, did you get your NES? No, got it in my 20s. I had to save up for it. And then the last scene is like, his dad died. And it's like, what the? He got a treehouse instead. And, oh, great, okay, but your dad's not there. Anyway,
shit.
Sorry.
Could have got some
family. I think we'll have to stick with things like Home Alone and Die Hard, really, won't we? Just to kind of
Emily,
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
That is a
genie for me.
Yep, that is Dorbs' almost favourite movie. I'm going to gather a second to Lost Boys, possibly, but
it is very good. It is. I'll class it as a movie.
Something else I like to chuck out there when people throw out that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, which it is. I like to throw out that Batman Returns is one of the greatest Christmas movies.
Yes.
It is. And Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is a Christmas movie.
Excellent. Love it.
Takes place on Christmas Day. You can't get more Christmassy than that.
Does Ghostbusters count as a Christmas movie because it takes place between Christmas and New Year?
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll count it. Why not?
It's a New Year movie, isn't it? Ghostbusters 2, certainly.
Yes, definitely.
That's Ryan's favourite. The Night Before. He loves that film.
He does love that movie.
Kisra, yes, you are right. It is an amazing soundtrack, or awesome soundtrack.
It is.
It's one of the greatest soundtracks ever.
Yeah. Right. Before we finish up, we have a little feature that I don't know if I don't think I did mention it actually. But if you've seen some of our stuff before, we have our feature that Dorbs does for us called "What's in the Box," and I will let Dorbs explain after we have run our other fantastic intro
on the VT.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
So yeah,
Dorbs, take it away.
The greatest intro I've ever seen. that was made in the onboard Windows video editor program, wasn't it?
I don't know who. No idea.
I recognise that one because I use it.
But yeah, I've got this amazing box here.
Let's get my notes.
It's now a.
I'll get your notes. Yeah, these got like to cheat. They use Google quite a
Well,
lot. So
speaking of cheating, right? You have to be very careful with Dorbs because we narrowed it down to one game last time. And if you watch the episode, we narrowed it down to 2 games. Ollie said one of them. We knew what the other game was. And we'd established earlier that it was a Pixar game that was a standalone Pixar movie that didn't have any sequels. And then Dorbs, we had one question left, which we were going to say Wally. He says, oh, was there a sequel to Cars?
I don't know.
That's a bit awkward. So then the answer given was Cars, and it was wrong because it was Wally. So I think that was a setup. So I think you should be disqualified.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
It wasn't relevant because it wasn't Cars.
I didn't know
that was a blatant abuse of your power.
I deny all those heinous.
I think it should be disqualification.
No, you don't make rules, unfortunately.
I will.
So, yeah.
I will let Dorbs explain.
Inside this box, yep, it's still there. I have a retro gaming item, so it could be a console game, I don't know, magazine, Ollie's favourite magazines, instruction manual, peripheral, you name it, it could be in there. So you've got 20 questions. I can only say yes or no. So let me just hang on a sec.
He's got to play
You've
with the
got to
layout,
set- yeah.
otherwise
I've got to play with the
Ryan's,
layout.
Ryan's OCD is going to go through the roof.
Ollie at the top there.
I'm not going to be the duck because there's not a Ryan to make the screens big enough. Oh, I could still
No.
be the duck. Go
You
for
are
it.
going to
There
be
you
the duck, mate.
Change.
Just
You gotta
going
make Ryan.
There we go.
There you
Ryan's
go.
the duck.
There's a
Right.
duck.
So, 20 questions. I can just say yes or no answers. Shoot.
So, question 1 is always the first question. Is it a game?
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
Okay. Is it a disc-based game?
No.
No.
It's been disc for about the last 12 goes.
I've mixed up a bit. It's not.
So,
Is it me
John.
next?
Yes.
Is it a game from the 1990s?
Very good question. No, it's not.
Is it a floppy disk game? Game on a
No.
floppy disk? No, it's not. Okay.
Is it a cartridge-based game?
No.
Okay.
Hey?
You five,
Disk.
you
Not
five,
disk.
five questions in already.
It's not a disc or a cartridge.
Or a floppy disk.
It's got to be
Or a
arcade
floppy
then.
disk.
Does it matter? Oh,
Yeah.
it's a question, isn't it?
Okay. Let's go for era then. So is it from the 1980s?
Yes.
Okay.
Dawes is well happy with himself. You can see it.
This is funny. This is
Yeah,
a
it's
funny one.
right up.
Can I
How
ask a
dare you.
question outside of the actual questions, just for rules purposes? Is this an
Go for it.
item that metaphorically, literally, physically fits in the box, or could this be anything?
It could be anything.
We
If-
did put an
if
Amstrad
it's
out there.
like-
You did put an Amstrad out there once, didn't you?
Yeah, the first one, and then a CPC Aztec pulled it out. No,
Mary Poppins.
yeah, it's basically a joke. If it's too big for the box, I'll just put it out of the bag.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a disc.
1980s.
It's not a disc. It's not a cartridge. It's not a floppy.
That's cassette. Oh, I got one.
Whose question is it?
John's.
I think it might be me. I'm still trying to think of one. So it's not a floppy disk, not a CD, not a cartridge.
Cassette, isn't it?
It's got to be cassette then, yeah. I don't want to ask if it's a cassette, unless he's got an arcade machine in the box. It's kind of why I was asking, does it legitimately physically fit in the box?
It's highly unlikely to be an arcade, I would say.
Yeah.
Is it? Sorry, is there a time limit here?
No.
No.
Okay. Is it a platform game?
I'll give you a little bit of more of an answer. It's a side-scrolling game. Put it that way.
Okay.
Side scrolling. Was it on the Spectrum? Is it a Spectrum game?
Yes.
Oof.
Okay. Okay.
So it's on the ZX.
Because my next question, if you'd said no to that, was, is it one of these Tiger fucking handhelds?
Oh, the one you got for £1.
Yeah. They're all
They're worth a lot of
sort
money now.
They are. They've even done some redos of them, haven't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
PS2 game.
they did. I had a Sonic the Hedgehog one that they've redone. They're like £80 to buy them
Yeah,
now.
mad.
Yeah,
Madness.
they're not cheap, and they're shit. They are not. They are not good. Okay, so we've got it down to the console now. How many questions we got left?
It's a side-scrolling.
You got
Well,
12.
side-scrolling
necessarily a
sort of
platformer,
spectrum,
though,
yeah.
is it?
Okay.
Quadrangle-based. Get on Google.
No, don't get on Google. Don't cheat.
Is it?
Don't talk
based-
to us about cheating, Jorbs, after last time. Misleading.
Is it based on a popular franchise?
Well, your idea of popular may be different from mine. But I
Is
would
it based
say
on a franchise that people will know? Because what I want to try and
100% yes.
okay,
Yes,
so what I want to do is try and exclude any of the weird Spectrum games
Yeah.
that exist.
So, is it? I'm not going to say is it based on a film, but I'm going to say is there a film of it? just in case the film came out after.
I don't believe there is.
No film. Okay.
I don't believe there's a film.
Doesn't mean it's not a TV show.
Yeah.
Is that a question?
No, because it's not my turn.
Right, scrolling.
Side
It's
scrolling.
a franchise.
could
but
be
Well,
not
actually,
like a
tell a
movie
lie. Tell a
franchise.
lie. I think the pilot may have been a film, but
Okay,
not
so the
in the conventional way.
What?
There was a feature-length first episode of a series of this franchise.
Yeah, there's always.
Okay. Right, giving us quite a lot there. I'm slowly starting to forgive you for the cars debacle. Not yet.
Debacle.
A side scroller. So it
Yeah.
could be a platformer, it could be a shooter, but
Why don't you? There's a good answer in the
yeah.
chat if you want to
Is there?
take a guess.
Green Jill.
No, not
No,
It's
what
right
screen?
for 18.
I thought
You're going to say no. We'll say, is it 18? No.
Yeah, no.
I didn't ask the
don't-
question though.
No, he didn't ask. He
I
said
was
you're
simply
going.
paraphrasing.
we're just going to
So,
waste all our questions now naming 80s action TV series, aren't we?
Yeah, you should honestly, you should get this. It's really
We
easy.
need to narrow
Well,
it down a little
it
bit.
is easy. It is really easy. You're on the. I'll give you a clue. You're on the right sort of tracks. I want you to get this because you know I'm a nice guy. But think of what Ryan said. Think of other TV shows from the 80s. I'm giving you
Yeah.
massive clues.
Oh, I've got an idea.
I'm
got an
telling
idea.
you what it is.
No,
I'm giving
where
you
are we
massive
actually?
clues.
Who are we?
I
We're
genuinely, I genuinely have I genuinely have a potential answer just based.
So do I.
Is
Who
Hang
Is
on,
it?
who is it? Is it John?
Hang on, whose turn is it?
I think
John.
it is. It could be John's go.
Right, well, let's
I'm
let John have his
struggling
go.
to come up with questions. I just don't want to waste a question on a guess.
You're
Don't
all
worry, you've
good,
got
mate.
9
We've
left.
wasted.
That's all right.
You're gonna get it.
Is it based on? You just said because it's kind of like a feature length thing.
The pilot is feature length. Yeah.
Is it set in like modern times?
At the time, or
Okay, I'll rephrase the question. Is it set in the real world?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right, Ollie, what I was thinking is you get Knight Rider, didn't you, the other day?
Yeah, I was thinking,
Right.
is it a game that
I was thinking,
is it a franchise we've guessed correctly before?
yeah. So I'm thinking, is it Knight Rider? But I know he loves his Knight Rider, doesn't he? But
Go on, Ollie.
looking at his
Go on, Ollie.
face, I know.
Yeah.
It's,
Be brave.
I know.
Let's go for a pad.
Yeah, is it Knight Rider?
Oh, we're on the right track, I think.
It's leading us in with this thing.
So it's side scroller. It's on the spectrum. It's in the sort of vein of A-Team.
80s.
It was a TV show. The pilot was a movie length.
I mean, I can't even tell you.
Was
I
it
can't.
definitely a TV show?
100, yeah, 100%. You would have known this, John. If once you find it out, and probably in a couple of questions, once you find out what it is, you'll be like, oh yeah, yeah.
What are we on? How many we got left?
8. You're definitely going to get it.
Oh, we've still got 8.
100%.
We're definitely going to get it.
100%.
Come on, Tim, be on Google.
I don't know. I'm writing my notes. and
Well, I'm quite disappointed you haven't got it already. If I'm not going to deny that.
You know what it
I'm just drawing a
is.
blank on like TV series from the 80s.
From the
that
80s.
had a pilot episode. It's
Dallas.
I don't really know Spectrum games very well, so
Right. Do you know what?
I don't really know.
Okay,
You know
okay.
Why don't you
I'm-
ask this question?
Airwolf? No way.
I wouldn't have thought it was that because there's another TV show that I thought from the 80s that it could be. But you're
I don't
pointing
even-
towards Airwolf, but you're very good at going, ask this. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
What's the
When
other
I-
one that's not Airwolf? The other helicopter one that's not Airwolf?
Desert, not
Oh,
Desert
is
Strike.
that Firefox?
That's
Is
a
that the one?
game.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking of
Blue.
something
Is
like
it Blue something? Blue? No, not Blue Steel.
Blue
Street.
Sun, Blue
wasn't
Thunder,
wasn't
something like that?
Thunder,
Street
yeah,
wasn't
Blue Thunder.
Street Hawk a TV show?
Yeah, that was a motorbike.
Was it a motorbike? Okay, so it's not that. Is it Airwolf?
I don't know how you did. I don't know how you got it, Ollie. Well done, mate. Yes, it is.
Oh, it is
It
Airwolf.
is
Oh,
How long has that answer been on the screen? But yeah, there it is.
I don't know. There's lots of things that have been
You
on
know
the
what,
screen for
I was
long
gonna
times all
say-
evening.
yeah,
I
we
was
know
gonna say
Ryan
Airwolf.
must have been on Google.
Well,
So,
I was going to say
yeah,
Airwolf was
look
my
at that.
answer because I was thinking to myself, if we now don't say
Oh.
Airwolf and it is that, we're going to be
Open
kicking
it up.
ourselves. We're going to have to
It
use
is.
it.
So,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Have a look.
There we go.
look at that.
I'm
that
gonna
is
close down my
amazing.
questions.
Airwolf. And yeah,
Ryan, I won again. Did you see that?
no, you didn't win.
I'd like
obviously.
well, Ryan, you can have it as a collective win with us if you want, mate. But
So, have you
got-
heard
you've
of
got
this
to be
TV
on it
show?
to win
Of
it.
course you have. Everyone's heard
Of
of that.
course, of course.
That's absolute class, and it's been repeated at the minute because I've got it on Series Link, so I have it on in the background while I'm working. So yeah, well done. I don't know how you managed to get that,
Neither do I.
but no, well done, chaps.
I think we need to have a close look at this rule book for what's in the box and understand what is and isn't allowed. There's some very questionable.
Well,
things that
I've
go
given
on.
you massive clues. I don't know.
Yeah,
You did.
you
You
did
gave us
actually.
lots of clues today. You weren't as misleading as you have been.
I'm never misleading, mate. I mean, never misleading.
Your
How
clues
dare
are
you.
always welcome, Dobbs. Your clues always
They are.
always give us that extra boost sometimes,
They
especially
do.
when we're up against such games as Alvin and the Chipmunks and Britney's Dance Beat.
Britney's dance beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Britney's Dance Beat is a classic. It's a classic game.
It exists.
Sneztastic liked it.
Certainly a
Sneztastic
game.
liked it.
It exists, and you own
Right.
it. Sneztastic did like it. He's a big Britney fan as well, though. So I mean, he's kind of biased, but we'll let it slide.
I do love 80s TV shows, and Columbo as well, which is in the 70s. Is another one of my favourites.
Is there a Columbo game? I wonder.
There should be. I
Probably
don't think there is.
There must be. Everything was early
don't know.
80s, wasn't it?
That's
You
a-
could literally have a game of
Mhm.
anything. Dorbs,
Let's
did
have a
you
look.
want to do it? Did you want to do a what's in the box on the live stream at OLL 22?
Oh, I don't know. I
I
don't
think it
know.
should be done. It should be done.
Yeah.
I'll provide the
It's
box
gotta
for
be
you if
done.
you want. You haven't got to bring a
Yeah, if you
box.
can, I'll tell you what, I'll have a couple of drinks. I'll have a couple of drinks. I'll
Well,
have a
what-
couple
You'll
of
have to
Yes,
bring
drinks.
that box with him.
What if we buy from one of the retailers at the convention, we'll buy a certain retro game, and that can be what is in the box. You host it on our live stream on a little 10-minute segment, and whoever guesses it on the live stream can win that game. Something
Dude,
like that.
Yeah, go on.
Ah!
Then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have
Cool.
to-
You've been
I'll be
saying
a
for
bit
ages.
nervous,
We need
though.
to. We need
I'll
to
have to
shut
send me
for a
email.
better box.
I'll be a bit nervous, so I might have to have a couple of drinks beforehand.
dude, that's happening.
But yeah, I'll be well up for that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude,
Thank you
that's
very much.
amazing.
That's very
Thank you
kind.
so much. That'd be
We'll do
so
that.
cool.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Amazing.
You can take this national now. You need to come on
Yeah.
our because we do a weekly video
What, with
podcast on a Friday.
With this thing.
Yes.
I'll get
This
laughed
That's
out
cat
of
better
the
than the
room.
usual crap that I make up on our channel. To be
If I
fair.
took this to Dragon's Den, they kick me out.
I don't know.
That's a homage now to. That's a
You'll
homage
have to come on
Pete's channel.
our OLL show on because we do the OLL show as a live stream chat thing on Friday evenings. We shall have to get you as a guest on our show with a special what's in the box because I like that.
I'll be honoured. I will be honoured.
Excellent.
That'd be amazing.
We'll work it out.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean that is that is quite a wonderful place, I think, to sort of finish up here. Yeah, see, he's all in there. Look at that. Yes, Paul, we'll make it happen.
We got a latecomer. Chef.
Oh, the
just
chef
turned
is
up.
in
All
the
right,
house. Retro
Amazing.
chef. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Everyone, just before we do disappear, Retro Chef is in the running for YouTuber of the Year. Chef is a good
my
friend
vote,
of
got my
ours.
vote.
I absolutely adore the bloke. He's got crazy energy. He's very into comic books. He's very into gaming. He hosts a very good stream every fortnight on Sunday called Swap Shop. So yes, everyone go vote for Chef for YouTuber of the Year. Let's as he says, let's bring YouTuber of the month to Essex and bling it up. I want to know what that entails. So let's do it.
Vajazzle it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Let's make it
hoping-
happen.
I'm
So,
hoping-
so everyone search YouTuber of the Year. I think it's on Sega Zombies channel. Go stick your vote in for Retro Chef. Let's get this done.
and I'm hoping he's going to turn up to OLL as well. I'm
That'd be
hoping
wonderful.
he's
I've
gonna-
never spoken to Retro Chef. Retro Chef, when you get a moment, go on our website or get in touch through these guys. And if you're available, come along. Definitely.
There you go,
We'll
Chef.
have you.
See,
We'll
there you
have
go,
you.
Chef.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So
Anyone-
that's retro Essex retro. It's much more and a retro chef.
We've got we had the Norfolk contingent. Now we've got like the sort of Suffolk and Essex one coming in. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
We will. No, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. John, thank you so much for joining us
So
tonight.
much,
It's
man.
been an absolute pleasure to
very
have you
welcome.
on. It's been
been a great
wonderful
laugh.
it's been wonderful to hear all about your your sort of journey through gaming and as to where we're at now. Anyone that is watching that hasn't got tickets to OLL, make sure you do go and grab those tickets. It's going to be absolutely insane, even if just to see Dorbs do What's in the Box live. This is going to be
Yeah.
this
After
will
a
be
few drinks.
fantastic.
After a few
This
drinks.
will be,
Yeah.
it will be great fun.
Mm.
It's
I could
clearly
actually
set
make
up
it
for
part of-
gamers by gamers.
I could make it part of the actual quiz.
Oh, yeah.
I'll crumble. I'll crumble.
Too much.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Crumble under the
It's too much
pressure.
pressure to put like a PS5 and a Series X on a result.
Exactly.
Of what's
No,
Yeah, you can look down.
I won't be able to take that much pressure. I'll crumble.
This little,
I will crumble
little
under the
kettle
pressure.
box.
Because these guys just ask the same question: is it a game? Is it disc based? They ask the same
Hey,
boring questions.
we
No
won it this
disrespect,
week, though,
lads.
didn't we, with those questions?
But like Mean Machine Dean, we had Mean Machine Dean on, who is just an absolute legend. His question was like, okay, is it the inside of the cartridge? Is it got one line or two lines? I'm like, huh? Actually,
Is it PAL or NTSC?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like really
ST
technical stuff. I'm
cam.
like, huh? Yeah, that was funny. But no, I'll if I did it like that, I'll just crumble.
Nah, you
Unless
wouldn't,
I've-
mate. You'd be
unless
fine.
I've
No,
had a
you
couple of
wouldn't.
drinks. Unless
You
I've
wouldn't.
had a
It'd be a
couple of
chuckle. Fantastic. Again, John, thank you so much for coming on.
Actually,
Hopefully,
great fun.
yes, and hopefully we'll be able to have you on again at some point in the future, and we'll we're all, like I say, we're all really looking forward to the convention next year. Fingers crossed, all the COVID stuff's going to stay as it is, and all the restrictions will just stay as they are. We can all just stick masks on, we'll sanitize everything, and it's going to be great. And we're really looking forward to it.
Awesome. We
yeah,
have we have a plan. We have a plan if we need it. So
Yeah.
excellent. So yes, thank you everyone in the chat for joining in. It's lovely to see some new names. Do give us a little cheeky subscribe, stay up to date with what we're doing. We've got our 12 days of Christmas videos going out every day in the lead up to Christmas. We hit such hard hitting topics, as you will see in the next couple of episodes. We really do start. Some people would call it scraping. Some people call it scraping the barrel. We call it digging to the bottom of those hard questions. Stay tuned for all of that good stuff. Just stay tuned for everything we've got planned in the new year. And fantastic stuff. We will see you all tomorrow for our next part of 12 Days of Christmas. And until then, we shall see you all later.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone.
Good night. Take care.
Right.